Yeah, hi. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the class of BCAR, and we're doing chapter number 2 here. So, I see some of you have joined, and some of you must be joining. So, I'll just wait for a minute or so, and then I'll start with today's session. Uh, I hope whatever topics we did in the last session were clear to you, and uh, because if those topics are clear to you, then you would be able to understand whatever is going to happen in this in this session, the next session better. Uh, as everything is interlinked, of course. If you do not understand the basic, and this is precisely why those topics are part of your curriculum, because without teaching those topics, we cannot jump to the bigger topics. And of course, the questions will be from the bigger topics. I suggest you, while preparing for your exams, please go through previous year's question papers, the RTPs which are uploaded, the mock test papers on the website, and everything should be enough for your practice too. You just need to know the concept. You don't have to mug up anything. You just need to understand it. What is the strategy for a particular writing skill, or what are the rules when it comes to grammar, vocabulary. That's all you need to know, right? Of course, the more you practice, the better it is, of course. Your language improves. Like I always say, and I always say in my previous lectures also, don't treat this topic as just a 40 marks paper and you have to score in that. This paper is going to help you in the long run. It is just not for momentarily for an exam. This particular course is meant to train you for a lot of other things for future, and this would definitely benefit you in whatever you do once you become a CA, or and whatever you want choose to do for yourself next. This is definitely going to help you. So I suggest that you listen to these lectures very carefully and you practice till the time you have time to work over your language skills, right? So, okay, many kids have joined. So let's start with today's session. Now, today's session includes, we're going to start with subject-verb agreement and tenses. Both topics are very essential, and you need to know about those rules and regulations and how things go on. I will be starting from subject-verb agreement first, which is one of my favorite topics, because that topics, no, Rahul, you're not late. We're just starting. Subject-verb agreement is the, I would say base to anything, because that is where most of the people get the English wrong. You need to understand that how the subject and the verb, they work together. If there is no agreement between the subject, you understand the word subject now, you understand the word verb now. So in a sentence, if the subject and the verb does not agree with each other, it does not go as per each other, then the entire sentence is wrong, right? You cannot say, he are coming late to the class. Can you say that? What should be there? If the sentence is, how would you correct the sentence? He are coming to the class, late to the class. What should be there? He is late to the class, or he's coming late to the class. Perfect. So you see how we change from are to is, because he is a singular person. So we need to use a verb which is singular, and that is, right? So we cannot change the subject, we can change the verb here. So I'm so glad that none of you did they are coming to the class. Yes, because the sentence moves according to the subject. हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं, कौन क्या कर रहा है, उसके अकॉर्डिंग ही पूरा सेंटेंस चलेगा. Am I correct? Am I clear? Okay, so let's see these rules from your study material itself. They are quite very well explained. There are many rules to subject-verb agreement, but once you start doing, these things start becoming easy for you. Okay, once you have a practice of writing, you automatically start understanding the topic, and that becomes your habit basically. You don't have to check the rules again and again. Okay, now subject-verb agreement is that the verb works according to the subject in person and in number, right? So it is also known as subject-verb concord. Now, the principle of a subject-verb agreement applies to finite verbs in the present tense and a limited way to the past forms of the verb to be. You will understand this when we start with the rules. So the basic rules is subject and verb must agree. There is a cornerstone rule. Look here. The lion roars when he is angry. The lions roar when they are angry. Now look at both the sentences and tell me what is the difference. Look at both the sentences and tell me what is the difference. Right. So in our first sentence, we're talking about a singular lion. And in the next sentence, we're talking about many lions, right? Now look at the verbs in both the sentences. When you're talking about a singular subject, you use a singular verb. That means in a form of verb, we add S to it. Okay. And similarly, in plural, we use the plural form of verb. Clear? Yes. Now I want you to quickly make two sentences with the same rule. In one you will be using a singular subject, and in the other one you are using a plural subject. Quickly make two sentences. So both the sentences are correct. One of you says Sita eats a mango, and one says girls eat mangoes. Now you have to understand that most of the people actually get this rule wrong. In singular, do not confuse yourself. In singular, the verb comes with S or ES, right? And in the plural, the verb comes as it is. Now, needless to say, this rule applies when you're talking in the simple present form, right? If you're talking in the past tense, then this rule might not be applied, because in the past tense, we are using the past word. Like, for example, the line wrote, the lines wrote, right? In the past tense, thing will not change much, or in the future also. But for the simple present, the rules will change. Similarly, you will have, if you're talking about present continuous, there will be the line is looking for the food, right? The lines are looking for the food. Clear? In that sense, is and are will be used according to the singular and the plural. Okay. Now, tell me something. You know about two words, has and have. Where do we use has and have? I mean, in terms of singularity and plurality, has and have, which of the words is used for singular and the plural subject? Has is used for singular or plural, and have is used for singular or plural. Very nice, Akshita. Rahul goes to school. Rahul gets up early in the morning. Okay. Quickly, has and have. Has is used with which subject, and have is used with subject in terms of number. Right. So have is used with plural subject and has is used with singular subject. Correct. Perfect. Okay, let's look at the next one. Subordinate clauses that come between the subject and the verb do not affect their agreement. Now, you know what subordinate clauses are? We did in the last class. Now, at times what happens is that we are talking about something and we add on some more information about that subject as a subordinate clause. But in reality, we are talking about the subject. Like, the dog who is chewing on my jeans is usually very good. Now here, who is our main subject? Which word is our main subject? It is the dog, right? And who is chewing on my jeans is just an extra information about dog. So our verb will be according to the subject. The dog who is chewing on my jeans is usually very good. We are using is here because we're talking about the dog here. Clear? No, I think it's a verb phrase. It's not an adjective phrase, it's a verb phrase. What it means is that there is a subject and there is a verb. In the middle, there is a subordinate clause, some extra information about the subject, right? At that time, the verb and nothing matters. The only thing matters is that you have to use verb according to the subject. Are we clear? Okay, next. Now you understand why that first lecture was important. We're using all those words, subordinate clauses, prepositional phrase. If we do not teach you that, then you won't understand all of this. Now, prepositional phrase cannot contain the subject of the sentence. Do not be confused when a prepositional phrase, a phrase that begins with of, in, between, so on, comes between the subject and the verb. In such cases, the object of the preposition appears to be the subject of the sentence, when in reality it is not. Now, look at the sentence. The colors of the rainbow are beautiful. Now, what do you think we're talking about? The colors of the rainbow are beautiful. Okay, now see, so many of you have answered rainbow. Now that is what this rule is talking about. In the prepositional phrase, we usually take, in a phrase, we take the object as a subject. Now, of the rainbow, rainbow is just a object. We're talking actually about the colors here. That is exactly what it's talking about. That whatever word which is starting from preposition is not the subject of the sentence, right? At times, object of the preposition appears to be the subject. See, Nehal, color and color, the spelling differences because of the British English and American English. So that's the only difference. Because in different culture, we have a little bit of difference in pronunciations and spellings. So here we are talking about the colors of the rainbow. Just look at the sentence once again and understand. Now, food between teeth results in decay. Now, we are not talking about teeth here. We're talking about the food between the teeth. Between the teeth is a prepositional phrase and teeth is the object of it. Are we clear? Yes. Water in the fuel lines causes an engine to stop. Now here again, water in the fuel lines. We're talking about the water, not the fuel lines here. And so the verb will be according to the subject. Now quickly make 2 sentences and drop in the query box. Very nice, Kasi. It's a very good sentence. Shweta, very good. So Shweta says, creatures of this forest are wild. Creatures of this forest. Now, of this forest is the preposition phrase, but we are talking about the creatures here. So our verb will be equal to the creatures. Very nice. Now, next, The pickle in the jar makes delicious. Very nice. Very good, Shakti. The bones of the dinosaur is gigantic. Very nice. The city of the light is more attractive. Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, next move. When sentences start with there and here, the subject will always be placed after the verb. When sentences start with there and here, the subject will always be placed after the verb. Some care needs to be taken to identify each part correctly. Now, whenever any sentence starts from there and here, the subject usually comes later. So you have to look at the subject and then choose your verb. There is a problem with the balance sheet. Here are the papers you requested. There is a man standing at the door. There are men standing at the door, right? Here is your spoon. Here are your plates and bowls. Okay, so you have to identify where is your subject, about whom you are talking whenever there's a case of there and here, because whenever you start a sentence with there and here. Now quickly, 2 sentences I need from there and here. Okay, Tanisha, I'll go back. In the meantime, you do the 4, rule number 4. There is an auditorium in your college. Here is your assignment. Okay, Bhumi, I've just corrected the sentence. Take a note. Here is the toy you bought. Very nice. Here are many people standing in the courtyard. Here are some books you should read. Okay. There are various flowers in the garden. There goes my well-earned money. There is a cat in the kitchen. There is a tiger in the cave. There is a couple standing next to a fountain. Perfect. Okay, next. Subject does not always come before verbs in questions. Make sure you accurately identify the subject before deciding on the proper form of verb to be used. Where are the pieces of this puzzles? Right? How are they doing? Where is the toy? Where is the toy you brought? Okay. So all of these questions, whenever we are making a question, the subject comes after the verb. So you need to know which verb to use, right? Quickly make 2 sentences with this now. Where are the books to read? How do you know me? Where is the way to go to school? Where are the papers of this property? Where are the medicines? Where is the shirt that I brought last Christmas? How do you do? What is your name? What are they? Where are they going? How's everything? Great. Very well. Okay. Now next come to the okay. When two subjects are joined by and, they typically require a plural verb form. Okay. The cow and the pig are jumping over the moon. My friend and his mother are in town. Whenever we are talking about two subjects and they're joined with and, we use a plural verb form. Okay. Now, in this case, it's very easy. You just have to use two subjects, simply you use a plural verb. They're joined by and. Okay. All right, quickly, examples, please. What is the cable of this charger? Very nice. Sita and Geeta are two best friends. Me and my friends are going to the picnic. Vandana, it's not me and my friends, it is my friends and I. You never start a sentence from me. It is you talk about the others and then you talk about I. My friend and I are on a business tour. It's Bhumi. Please correct these sentences. I and my friend went on a trip. My friend and I went on a trip. My mother's and me, no, Sasi. It is my mother's and I. My mother's and I. My mother and I went to temple. Now, in case of past tense, nothing changes. Okay, there's no singular plural. You just use one form of verb. It only changes when you're talking about present tense. Tina and Reena are singing very good. My sister and I are going to Mumbai. He and I are visiting her. The director and the producers are coming. Pramod and Raj are playing cricket. My family and I went out on a tour. My mother and I are cooking. My friend and I are in Allahabad. All right, Samsung and Apple are most famous tech brands. Very nice. Business law and BCR are in same paper. No, Shakti, we're talking about the A. Now, next is seventh, which is the verb is singular if the two subjects separated by and refer to the same person or a thing as a whole. Okay. When we're talking about two things, they're separated with and, but actually that is just a one thing. Like, for example, red beans and rice, which is rajma and chawal. Now, red beans and rice, it is one complete dish. Even though they are two different things, we take it as what, one thing. All we imagine it to be always together. Similarly, you have bread and butter. So, whenever we're talking about two different subjects that are joined with and, in that sense case we use is. Are we clear? Okay. Now, if you can think of any examples, quickly give me the examples. bat and ball. Dal and bati is the famous dish of Rajasthan. Very good, Vanna. Mehek, cake, and banana, no. They're two different things. We're talking about things that always go together. Bread and jam, bread and butter, dal and bati. It's a good example. Jeans and t-shirt is the best dress code. Very nice. Okay. There's a very limited options when we are trying to explain this. Okay, so next one is if one of the words comes before the subject, the verb is singular. Each, every, no. No smoking or drinking is allowed. Every child has right to education. No one is allowed to be late for the class. Are we clear? No one is allowed to be late. So whenever we're using no, every, and each before the uh, subject, we use a singular verb. Why? Because these words actually emphasize that we're talking about one person. No one is allowed. Like, ek bhi nahi, right? Every, each one of them. So all of these words actually talk about singular thing, like, and in talking about one single thing too at this time. Now, quickly make the sentences with each, every, and no. It's very easy. These sentences we talk every day, use every day in our everyday language. These words. Pen and paper is needed. Very good, Shweta. Each part of the sentence is incomplete. Very nice, Ritu. Each one of you has to be in discipline, Tanisha, not have. Each toy costs. Where is the sentence go? Each toy costs rupees 20. Very nice. Each of them is not sure. Everything is perfect. Okay. Each apple of this tree has fallen down. Very nice. No one has ventured so far as him. Every rose smells good. Everyone should attend the ICI class. Now, in this case, because you are using modals here, nothing changes. Each student is listening. All right, perfect. Now, let's move on to the next one. If the subjects are both singular and are connected by or, nor, neither, nor, either, or, not only, but also the verb is singular, either Jessica or Christian is to be to blame for this accident. Either my either my mother or my father is coming today, right? Neither apple nor banana is my favorite fruit, right? Uh, Not only Ria, but also Gia is coming today for dinner. Okay, so whenever we use such words, we are again addressing to people one by one. We're not taking them as collectively, as so many things or people. So we again use singular here. Quickly make the sentences now. Aditya, I don't understand your sentences. No, I think all of you have got it wrong. None of you are making the correct sentences. I'm just going to correct your sentences. Stick to this present tense for once for all. Not only Disha, but also Bhumi is taking part in speech, is taking part. Ram or Sham is a good choice for this drama. Not only you, but also your friend is to be blamed for the accident. Either a book or pen is about to finish. You can either call me at for not only Sia, but also Maya is representing our college. Not only business law, but also business correspondence and reporting is important. Very nice. All right. Now, next. Either India or America is to be blamed for the war. Okay. Neither me or sister, neither my sister nor I am playing football today. In this case, you will use am because with I we use am. Either there's profit or loss in the baklava shipping. Okay. This match is about to finish. All right. Now, next one is the only time the object of preposition decides plural and singular verbs forms is when noun and pronoun subject like some, half, none, more, all are followed by a prepositional phrase. Then object of preposition determines the form of the verb. Now, where did we study that the object of preposition is not considered? In which rule? Rule number? In which rule before this we discussed about object of preposition? And how is that rule different from this one? Rule number 3. Right, that's right. So now in this one, it says when a sentence starts from some, half, none, more, or all, at that time, it is followed by object prepositional phrase. Then we consider the object and we determine the verb accordingly. For example, all of the chicken is gone. All of the chickens are gone. Some of the apples are left, and none of the apple is left. Okay, half of the crayons are lost. Half of the crayons are lost. Some of the crayons are scattered on the floor. Clear? Okay, this is very easy. I think you can just quickly start with this. Just leave on one example, that's it. Some of the students were going to their house. Okay. Some crows are flying. A crow is flying. Well, you use some and none for countable and uncountable nouns both. All of my salary is spent. All of them have a dark past. Okay. None of these sentences are grammatically correct. Very nice. None of the directors have entered into the agreement. All of the grape is A. All of the grapes are eaten. With R, you don't use the past tense. We will be studying tenses after this. Some of the people likes my story on Instagram. Some of the clothes are wet due to rain. Products are available in the factory. Okay, in the next rule, we are talking about distance, periods of time, sum of money, and quantity. Now, in this case, whenever we are talking about distance, periods of time, sum of money, and quantity, we use the singular verb. Okay, 3 miles is too far to walk. $10 is a high price to pay. 4 quarts of oil was required to get the car running. Whenever we talk about quantities, money, and time, distance, we always talk about singular verb. Now, in the next one, if the subjects are both plural and are connected by or, nor, neither, nor, either, or, not only but also. Now, in the last case, we did when subjects are singular, we use singular verb. In the plural verbs, subjects, when it is connected by or, not, neither, nor, either, or, we use the plural verbs. Right? This should be easy for you. Now, next one is the combination of both. If one subject is singular, and the 13th I'm talking about here. The 13th rule says if one subject is singular, the other is plural, the words are connected by or, nor, neither, nor, either, or, use the verb of the subject that is nearest to the verb. Now, in this case, if one subject is singular, one is plural, then in that case, we decide according to the subject which is near to the verb. Either the bears or the lion has escaped from the zoo. Either the bears. Now, bears is plural, lion is singular, but we have to choose the verb according to the lion because that is the nearest to the verb. Neither the lion nor the bears have escaped from the zoo. Now, in this case, if you switch both the words, we have to choose according to the subject which is near to the verb. Indefinite pronouns typically take singular. Everybody is. Now, these pronouns have singular verb. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody is going to the party. Everyone is organizing a Halloween party. Is anyone home? Okay. I'm just rushing because these things don't need much explanation. This is just for your practice now. These exceptions of the above rule include the pronouns few, many, several, both, all, and some. These always take a plural form. There are some exceptions to the above rule, including the pronouns few, many, several, both, all, and some. Now, in this case, we have to use the now. In the above one, we're talking about one person, singular. In the other one, when we talk about few, many, several, that means we're talking about more than one thing. In this case, we use the plural verb. Few were left alive after the flood. Many children are coming to Rohan's birthday party. Any confusion, guys? Okay. Now, last three rules, 16, 17, and 18. Now, the 16th rule says, whenever we're talking about two infinitives, the verbs like to walk, to chew, to run, to swim, and they are joined by and. We're talking about two verbs, two activities, and they're joined by and. Of course, we use a plural form of verb. To walk and to chew gum require a great skill. To swim and to be able to breathe require skills. Okay. To eat and to drink are essentials for our life. Okay. When gerunds are used as the subject of the sentence, they take singular form of the verb. Standing, swimming. Now, when we have such words, the words that have ing, and they are used as the subject, then we take singular. But if there are two activities that we are talking about and that is joined by and, we take the plural form of verb. Clear? Last is the collective noun. The collective nouns such as team, staff can be either singular or plural depending upon the rest of the sentence. Typically, they take the singular form as a collective noun is treated as the cohesive singular unit. Now, whenever there is a collective noun, we use a singular form of verb. Because collective noun, we understand that We're treating them as a single unit. The committee unanimously has taken the decision. The herd of cows is stampeding. Are we clear? Any problem so far? Are we clear with all the rules? Okay, great. So if everything is clear to you, let's take a 5 minutes break and come back and then start with the other topics. We'll be discussing that, Mehek. Yeah. So this was about the subject-verb agreement. Now, after this, we're going to take up another important topic, which is tenses, right? Uh, Everything is there in your study material. It is very well explained. We're just going to go through the table that is mentioned in your tenses chapter, which is on page number 2.17. We're going to just quickly look through those two tables and understand what tenses are. Now, to give you an idea, tenses basically, tells you about the state of the verb, whether the action is already done, whether the action is going on, it's a present task, or the action will happen. So we basically depict about timing going to in the form of verbs, and the verbs change its form with the every tense. Am I clear? We use it very carefully as per the sentences, as per what we are trying to say. If you do not understand how to express yourself and how to tell about what is done and what will happen, then the entire meaning is lost, right? Whatever you're trying to speak or whatever you're trying to write, you won't be able to convey the correct meaning. Are we clear? Yes, everyone. Shall we start with tenses? Once again. Okay, so gerund is basically, one of you asked what gerunds are. Now, gerunds are basically the verbs that acts as noun, the verbs that has ing in the end, and they become act like a noun, like swimming, dancing, apologizing, flying, doing. Whenever whenever a verb has ing and they act as a noun in the sentence, it's called gerunds. Are we clear? Yes. Okay. Now let's talk about the tenses here. Just sharing my screen. It's on page number 2.17. Now, please understand that we are basically going to study 12 forms of tenses. Now, simple, present, past, all have four types. Okay. Now, every type, tense, present, past, future has four types, which means that we're going to in totality study about 12 tenses. Simple present, present continuous, this line, if you see this. Simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. Simple past, past continuous, past perfect continuous. Simple future, future continuous, future perfect continuous. We're going to quickly study about the structures that how you actually frame a sentence in simple present or past continuous or future continuous, and where do you use them. Okay, because if you do not know this, then you won't be able to understand active passive voice, which is very important topic. Clear? Shall we start? Okay. I read nearly every day. Now, in simple present, or I eat chocolate every day. In both the cases, the sentence structure says that you have a subject followed by a verb, the verb that will have S or ES depending on the subject. I read, He reads nearly every day. Now, simple present tense is simple in its meaning. It just talks about your habits, your routines, something that changes never. Universal facts, truths. So, like for example, I read nearly every day. Here we're talking about the habit, right? So whenever you're talking about something that you do every day, you use simple present tense. Okay. Uh, can be used with or without adverb of time. You don't need any adverb of time, like every day. All right. Okay, next. Present continuous. Now, present continuous is basically when we're talking about something which is going on presently. Okay, the time action which is going on, or to indicate temporary action which may not happen at the time of speaking. A temporary action. Now, what does that mean? First, look at present continuous sentence, which is I am reading Premchand at the moment. Now, in continuous, we use the verb with ing, reading, sleeping, drinking, eating. But such verbs also need a helping verb. Are, I, are, am. Now, am is an R. Now, am is an R we choose according to our subject. I am reading. He is reading. They are reading. Have we clear? The reading will remain the same. Have we clear? Now comes the present perfect. Now, present perfect basically talks about something that just got over. To indicate past action, which is now defined by the time of occurrence, to indicate an action which started in the past and has continued up till now. Now, we're talking about something which started in the past and is still going on. The other is to indicate past action, which is now defined by the time of occurrence. Clear? This is present perfect. In this, a sentence structure is easy again. We use has or have plus the third form of the verb. Gone, drunk. The verbs have three forms, right? Like drink, drank, drunk, right? So in that case, we in present perfect we use has or have, and then we use the third form of the verb. I have read so many books. I have eaten my food. Are we clear? And with I we use have. Otherwise, with singular we use has, and with plural we use third form. Like she has read so many books. I cannot keep the count of. Right? Last is the present perfect continuous. Now, in present perfect continuous, it says, I have been reading since I was 4 years old. I have been traveling since a week, right? She has been traveling since a week, right? So she has, I have, they have. Now, after this, we have been, which is the third form of be, and then we have reading, because present perfect continuous is the combination of present continuous and present perfect, right? So it is using the rules of both. It has a third form of the verb also. It has a verb with ing. Clear? So in present perfect, no matter if it's singular or plural, you will use been and then a verb with the ing, which is the main verb. Like, I have been eating, right? She has been eating. To indicate an action which started at some point of in the past and continued up till that time. Are we clear? If there is any problem, you can ask me now. Uh-oh. Okay. First, tell me if everything is clear to you. Other thing than that, I'm going to ask you questions and you have to answer. Okay, frame a sentence using present perfect. Present perfect. I have not eaten the food. Very good. I have fallen from the same cliff twice. Very good, Shweta. The twice will come towards the end. They have come to school. They have reached to school. In some forms, the second and third form are same. In some verbs, the second and third form are the same. So if you use reach, then the second and third form are the same. You will say they have reached to school or they have arrived in school. I said present perfect me, no? Not present continuous. Okay, it's partially present perfect. I'm trying to pass CA since I've completed my 12th. I'm trying to appear for CA. I have written those papers, very nice. No, only present perfect. She has read books, she has written letter to me, I cook food. I have cooked food. I've done this work before that night. Very nice. Okay, now can you start with the past tense? They have reached a destination. Now, can you start with the past tense, please? Okay. Now, in past tense, we have simple past, which tells us simply that this task is over. I ate chocolate yesterday. We came back yesterday. I cooked food in the morning, right? The task which is already over. Am I clear? Okay, next. Next comes the present continuous, which says, I was working late, right? I was eating the chocolate. We use the second form of is and are, which is was slash were. Was is used with singular, were is used with plural. And then there's a verb with ing, just like present continuous tense. I was eating the chocolate. They were coming yesterday. I was cooking the food in the morning. right? You indicate uncompleted action of the time when you don't know when the thing was over, right? You can talk with or without time reference, like now, then, late, to indicate persistent habits of the past. When you talk about the habits of the past, I might clear something that you used to. I was using the same laptop for 10 years. Yes. Okay. Next, past perfect. Now, past perfect is to indicate a completed action of the past that happened before another event. So in past perfect, we usually use past perfect when we're talking about two things at the same time. Right? I had eaten the chocolate. That means we're going to talk about something else too. Yes. So whenever we're talking about two different things and the one activity is over a long time ago, we use the past perfect tense. I had eaten the chocolate. I had cooked the food in the morning. She had washed the clothes herself. So whenever you're talking about something that is over a long time ago, and after that, a lot of other events happened. Are we clear? Now, next comes the past perfect continuous. In past perfect continuous, we indicate an action in the past that began before certain point in the past and continued up till that time. So we're talking about something that started long time ago, but it is continuing till now as we speak. I had been eating the chocolate. Like this eating of the chocolate started a long time ago. And then before the certain point of time in the past, and it is still being continued. I had been reading for at least a year before my sister learned to read. Now we're talking about two actions here. One is my sister learned to read, and I'm saying that I've been reading since, even before her, and it is still being continued. Are we clear? Are we clear about the past tense? Any problems with the past tense? The important thing is to know the structure and, of course, where to use what. Okay, great. So make a frame a sentence using past perfect. They had left the place yesterday. Very good. They had gone to Agra. Very nice. I ate ice cream. I ate ice cream is simple past. She had a bad idea. Again, it's the past, simple past. I said past perfect, not past perfect continuous, Manish. She had came late to the meeting. Not come, came. He had written the exam very nice. Okay, let's talk about the future tense. I will, no, sorry, simple future. I will read as much as I can this year. Now, in simple future, we just simply tell that what is going to happen, right? In this case, we use will plus the simple form of the verb. I will read, I will talk, I will walk, I will cook, right? I will type, right? So in this case, simply we use will plus the main form of the verb in its as it is form. And this is just to indicate an action or condition or circumstances which has not taken place yet. Future. Future is I will be reading the book Ikigai soon. I will be reading. You have will, then you have a be, then you have verb plus ing. Okay? Verb plus be plus word plus ing. Now, where do we use future continuous? We use it to indicate planned future. Whatever we have planned, and it is, I mean, in our heads, we feel that that will happen, we used future continuous. Then comes the future perfect. In future perfect, we have will, then we have has or have, depending on the subject. Uh, and along with that, we have the third form of the verb, which is read here. It is read, read, read. Okay, it spells like read, but the pronunciation is different. At least 500 books by the end of the year. I will have eaten that chocolate, it says. I will have been eating. Now, in future continuous perfect. Again, just like simple and past, we mix both the rules, continuous and perfect. And this will become to indicate an action that will happen. I will have been eating. So in this case, we have will, then we have has or have. We have to choose between has and have, depending on the singularity and the plurality of the subject. Then we have the third form of the verb. Then we have the verb with ing. Okay, just remember that in the perfect and the continuous forms, in all these things, whether it's simple, past, or future, we use the verb, the form of the verb same. So in perfect and perfect continuous, in perfect, we use the third form of the verb. In perfect continuous, the been plus verb plus ing is common for all. Am I clear? Whether it is present perfect continuous, whether it's simple perfect continuous, whether it is future perfect continuous, these things will remain the same. The only thing that will change is the verb that comes right after the subject. Will, had, have. That's all will it change. If you look at the table right here, compare the three in terms of structure. This is the past perfect continuous, this is the present perfect continuous, and this is the future perfect continuous. Look at all three. If what else things are similar and what is different. Okay, quickly frame a sentence using future perfect continuous. Future perfect continuous. I will have been giving my BCR test. Okay. I will have been waiting here for 3 years, 3 hours. Okay, fair enough. Now let's move on to the most important topic, which is active and passive. Now, what is active and passive voice? So when we use the word voice means that we are basically talking about the true grammatical voices. We are here referring to the connection between the subject and the object of a sentence, which is linked through a verb. Now, our focus here is that whether we want to focus on subject or the object, with that, the entire voice changes. With that, the verb linked to it changes in a sentence, right? If we are taking the object as our subject and we want that to be the main focus of the sentence, the verb will be changed according to that. But in case we are talking about subject as like the one who is doing the action, if that person is our focus, then the verb will move accordingly. Clear? For example, he loves me. Now, when I say he loves me, that means I'm talking about he here. He and my work is loves. I am loved by him. Now, here he is becomes the object or the agent here. Here the focus changes. I am focusing on myself. I am. Okay. In the first one, my focus is that I'm talking about the other person. In the next sentence, I'm talking about myself. Look here in this thing. Yeah, thank you. Right. So I was talking about that we were discussing about two examples, which is Tom kicked the ball, and the other sentence says the ball was kicked by Tom. Now, what is the difference between both the sentences? The difference is the difference is between the focus. Now, whether you are focusing on the doer of the action or receiver of the action. One second, I'm just logging in from other system. Mm. Oh God. Okay. So Tom is the doer of the action. So whenever we focus on the doer more than the receiver, that is the active voice. And that is a better way of communicating because we are basically talking with clearance. We are not uh, confusing anyone because our focus is right the subject. I'm just sharing the screen for the PPT again. Okay. And the other one is basically the object which becomes a subject and the doer of the action becomes the agent, and which is why we use by. The ball was kicked by Tom. So whosoever is doing the action goes towards the end and is and has a by before it, so that it shows that who did this action. This action was done by who. So this is the difference between active and passive voice. And now if we talk about that, why do we use this? And where do we use it? Anyone who can tell me this? Right, right, right. So anyone who can tell me, where do we use active voice and where do we use passive voice? I don't see anybody responding. Anyone who can think of the use of active and passive voice, why are we even studying this? To tell something which was done in past? No, we can talk about present and future as well. See, when we are talking professionally, when you're writing an email or you're talking to someone, it is always better to use active voice because that creates less confusion. It is very direct, and who did what, you're straight. But passive voice is at times used when you are not sure who did the action, when you're talking about something that has happened, but you're not sure who did it, right? So you use passive in that case. And in newspaper headlines, we usually use passive voice because we want to focus about what happened rather than who did it. Okay. So we want to bring all the attention there. But if you ask me professionally, we use active voice because we want to be direct about and about whatever we are talking, verbally or in written. Right. So the active voice is used there. So this is a simple understanding of active and passive voice. Now we will be looking at basic rules here. The basic features of active and passive voice. In the active voice, subject of the sentence is doing the action. And in the passive voice, action is done on and upon the subject. In active voice, the doer of the action is followed by the verb. In the passive voice, doer of the action is preceded by the verb. Okay, which means that the doer of the action comes after the verb. And in the active voice, it comes before the verb, right? Vice versa, in active voice, the receiver of the action comes after the verb, and in passive voice, it comes before the verb. Meaning is clear and direct. In that, meaning can be confusing and direct. At times, passive voice can be very confusing, like who did what. Clear? Okay. Now, just like tenses, we have little changes in active voice and passive voice as well. Okay. So if we're using simple present in active voice, the structure will change in the passive voice. How? Julia eats the chocolate. The chocolate is eaten by Julia. Now, how the things change? We have a subject, Julia eats the chocolate. This is a simple present that we just discussed in tenses. But in passive voice, because we have the focus is on this object. Object comes in front. So you use is because it's simple present. Then use a third form of the verb. In this, whenever you change from active to passive, you use third form of the verb. You add by and then the name of the person who did the action. Clear? Next comes Julia is eating the chocolate. And in passive voice, the chocolate is being eaten by Julia. You have to learn these structures. You have to see what are the rules of changing from active to passive and passive to active. And then you have to apply it. Now, this will get perfect only with practice. This you cannot ratify, right? Nobody can learn all of this. Right? The chocolate is eaten by Julia. The chocolate is being eaten by Julia. Now, is will remain is. You add being here, just the way you add been in the tenses. So you add being, which takes all the ing, then third form of the verb, and then by and Julia. In present perfect, we talk about Julia has eaten the chocolate. The chocolate has been eaten by Julia. So you use has plus been, which is the third form, and then eaten, and then by Julia. Julia ate the chocolate. The chocolate was eaten by Julia. Can you connect the structures here? So in the same way where we have present tense, we have past tense also. In the past tense also, things don't change except the helping verb. Helping verb, just to say, that is will become was, has will become had, right? In past continuous, Julia was eating the chocolate. The chocolate was being eaten by Julia. Julia had eaten the chocolate. The chocolate had been eaten by Julia. Now, see the chocolate and the Julia, keep it aside. We just look at the middle one, that how verbs are changing. Had been. Will eat, will be eaten. Will be eating, will being eaten. Passive voice, always main verb will be mentioned in the third form. The helping verbs will change. The verbs that are supporting the main verbs will change their form according to the active to passive, and also in correspondence to the tenses. We are on future continuous. Will be eating, will be being eaten. Will have eaten, will have been eaten. So we use basically be and we keep modifying the be except in simple present tense, right? Will have eaten, will have been eaten. Can eat, can be eaten. Problems? Anyone? You definitely have questions coming up from active passive. So make sure you understand this better. I want you to look at your study material also. 1 second. Wherein we have mentioned this table of how the things change. Yeah, it's here. We will be discussing again in the next class too, but just have a look at this first. Now, look at the first column. This first column actually tells you about the structure in passive voice. So like throw or throws becomes, if it is throws, then you use is, am, or are. Sorry, is and am. And are is used with throw. And then the third form of the verb, am thrown, is thrown, are thrown. Then you look at the present continuous tense. Is, am, are is there, of course, because it is present tense. Then we have being, and then V3 by an agent. Am thrown, I'm being thrown. Is thrown, is being thrown, are thrown, throwing, are being thrown. Similarly, in all the tenses, these structures are given to you very clearly in your study material. Go through that and you will be able to actually solve this. So the practice that you need to have is from changing the sentences from active to passive and passive to active. Like that's all you need to practice from this topic. That's the kind of questions that are being asked in the exams. Present perfect. Now in perfect, even in tenses we add on has or have, right? So similarly, we have has or have. We have a third form of be, which is been, and then we have a V3. I want you to go through the table. Past perfect, had thrown, had been thrown. Here, nothing changes in terms of singularity and plurality because had is used commonly with singular subject and plural subject. So had been thrown. Similarly, with will is also not changed as per the number of the subject. So the rule will remain the same. Will be thrown, shall be thrown. Future continuous is will be. So it will become will be being. Will have been. And in terms of modals, when we use can, may, must, it is can throw, can be thrown, must be thrown, should be thrown, must be thrown. So we just add be and then third form of the verb. whenever we have can, may, must, should in a sentence. Are we clear? If there is any problem, you can ask me now, even though we will be talking about this topic in length in the next class too. I'll start the class. We will be taking up how pronouns are changed, what is the use of by. We're talking about all the features of active and passive. And then we talk about interrogative sentences, imperative sentence, all sorts of sentences, how they are changed from active to passive. Now, before the class ends, you can just quickly tell me if there is any problem or if everything is clear to you from today's class, of course. Okay, everything is clear. Then a quick surprise question. Frame a sentence using present perfect. Are thrown. Yes. No. Is thrown. Bhumi. Is thrown. Okay. Frame a sentence using present perfect. Quickly, I'm waiting. I have eaten some mangoes. I've been writing no, Meghna. I said present perfect, not present perfect continuous. I have eaten the food. I have plain no. She has cooked Maggie. Okay, good Ritu. I have attended all the AGMs. Yes, good. Present perfect. You guys are mixing. You have to go back and go through the rules very carefully. No, why been? It's just I have eaten the food. My project has completed, not is completed page. Why are we using ing form here? Purva, Meghna, she has taught children, okay. No, Shruti. what you're doing is it's present perfect continuous. Meghna, no, it's all wrong. Okay, my suggestion to you is, I know it's overwhelming because there were too many rules to discuss, from subject verb agreement to tenses to active passive. I will be taking another half an hour of session on active passive in the next class, and then we'll move to indirect and direct. But in the meantime, before our next class, please go through all the rules that we have discussed and see if there is any problem. If there is any problem, please mark the rule and ask me in the next class. Right? We'll start with that and then we'll proceed to direct indirect speech. Right. All right, guys. So I'll see you on Friday now. Just do let me know if everything was clear and how was the class today. And I'll see you on Friday now. Have a good day.